Hey everyone, welcome back to Midwest Microbrew. I'm your host Henry Nosek, and today I'm talking with Sam Goerdt, co-owner and brewer at Goertts Brewhaus in Galena, Illinois. Sam's a Marine Corps veteran who studied brewery science in Denver and trained at the Siebel Institute before a COVID curveball landed him back in his hometown, where he eventually bought and rebranded the brewery that he'd already been running for years. We talk about his European-inspired beers, some wild creative recipes, and what's coming up next for the brewery. Let's get into it. Hey Sam, it's good to have you on today. Welcome to Midwest Microbrew. Thank you for joining today.
No problem. Always a great day to talk about beer.
Absolutely. I figured to start things off before we get into the questions, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself for the audience and kind of telling a little bit about your background and how you got where you are now.
Sure. Yeah, my name's Sam Goerdt. I'm originally from the Galena area, but I've lived all over. My beer story kind of begins after I got out of the service, out of the Marine Corps. I went to Metropolitan State University at Denver for a brewery operations program, kind of a science-based program. Not a lot of beer-directed science programs in the United States, and then after that, took a concise brewing technology course at the Siebel Institute out of Chicago. Learned a lot of kind of hands-on stuff there, a lot of technical things that are applicable to day-to-day life in a brewery. And from there, I was actually supposed to go to their This is back in maybe March of 2019. I was supposed to go to the master brewing program in Germany in Siebel, out of Siebel.
Mhm.
But I paid and everything, but they canceled and gave me a refund because that's like, should ring a bell to people. That's when the month COVID hit. So I
Yeah.
was kind of moved back from Denver to the local area to try and kind of go from there to Chicago. It's about 2.5 hours. Chicago's about 2.5 hours from 3 hours from Galena. But anyway, yeah, so I was kind of stuck here and applying to breweries, to kind of get a start somewhere, and started at the Galena Brewery Company. They really didn't have anybody. They kind of had like a contract brewer, which, not it needs a little more attention than that. Obviously, it's just a 10 barrel program, but, definitely needs more attention. And I just kind of jumped in and just started going from there. So I had a good chance to kind of control the whole show. It was kind of one man operation, and yeah, so that was a great opportunity for me. And I worked there for about 5 or 6 years, and then um, me and my family had a opportunity to purchase a business, and we purchased a business and kind of rebranded, and the rest is kind of where we're at today, which we took over last October, so October 2025, open October 10th, and yeah, we're going strong right now. So yeah, that's kind of a brief background, somewhat brief.
Cool. Yeah, no, good to hear. So that kind of gets into the origin story of how you guys got started. Is there anything else that you know about like what inspired you to start brewing in Galena specifically?
Kind of just the right place at the right time. I mean, it seemed the opposite of that at the time because I was supposed to go to Germany to the master brewer course, but ended up being here, kind of where I'm from, and ended up kind of getting into a brewery. Just seemed kind of like fate, to be honest. And yeah, that worked out great in the long run, I suppose.
Yeah, nothing to it. That makes sense. What made you want to get into brewing specifically?
It's cliche, but just love beer. I
Yeah.
remember, I remember even like with my dad, we'd go to the Potosi Brewery Company when I was like 16, 15, and you're allowed to have a drink with your parents there under adult supervision. And I would like have an IPA and weirdly, like the IPAs right off the bat, and just kind of got from there. I just kind of got the bug. I just research beer, and I love science. Kind of have science is my main interest academically, and kind of expanded on that with all things kind of brewing. And I home brewed in my apartment in Aurora, Colorado for a while, and in
Yeah.
Galena and everything. And honestly, there I kind of got a good chance to formulate some recipes and work out ratios of grains and explore and kind of understand everything.
Helps to have the scientific process.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, if you don't write it down, it's hard to remember,
Right. I feel like Walter White or something.
Yeah, 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 that's right. That's right. A drunk Walter White, right?
That sounds great. Um, how would you describe your brewery in one sentence if someone's never been there before?
Good question. Kind of a European style brew house that features simple but complex lager and ales. So I think that kind of sums it up, but to
Yeah.
expand on it a little bit, I would say to me, like the perfect beer and what we try to kind of emulate isn't something off the wall, kind of crazy, but the quality and the standard is in the details. So kind of the complexity of simpler things like background notes, yeast profile, the finishing gravity and body of the beer, carbonation levels, all that kind of just builds like a perfect package. And at the Galena Brewery Company before, I noticed that everybody wants a super light beer. People are walking around. We also have a restaurant, so people are pairing beer with food, and it kind of goes hand in hand with what our beer theme is kind of getting complex flavor profiles out of a low finishing gravity beer.
Yeah, awesome. So next question is kind of like your regulars. So from the time that you were with Galena Brewing Company to now, is it a lot of familiar faces or is it a lot of new people or how does that look?
Honestly, it almost seems like a blur a little bit, besides maybe,
Yeah.
20 good locals who come in there a lot, which are great, great people, and people who move to town, find us and come to us a lot, join our mug club and all that. But
Mhm.
we get a lot of people from big cities come in, and, they may come to the brewery 3 to 10 times a year, but, yeah, they become familiar over time. But, yeah, it's great seeing them, and we get a lot of traffic from Chicago and stuff like that.
Gotcha. So you guys have a mug club. That's I know a few breweries that do that. It seems like a great program.
Yeah, it's like why not kind of thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you actually do save some money on it, and you get a cool like custom stein that we give out for it, and I don't know, builds a little bit of camaraderie with your place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people seem to love that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Makes sense. Is your space pretty family friendly, or do you make different accommodations for age groups and all that?
Yeah, it's definitely family friendly, and that was kind of something that we deliberately made a point when we kind of rebranded and started the place. I mean, my wife and I have 5 kids between us, and when we go out, we don't want to like just go to a bar, but we want to have a beer. So it's like, well, let's find something that's family friendly, and for other places like in Dubuque have arcade rooms and stuff. So we brought an arcade room into kind of a non-used room currently at the brewery, and we have like 6 arcade games in there. We have a pool table in a separate room, and we're definitely more family friendly. That's kind of the crowd we typically get,
Yeah,
and it's great to see, and yeah, a lot of teachers come in with their kids in town and stuff like that. So it's great to host everybody. You know.
yeah, absolutely. No, it sounds like what could be better than that?
Yeah, that's
Great
right.
time, have
That's
some
right.
fun at the arcade, play some pool.
Yeah,
Makes it
exactly.
better.
Parents can have a beer, not feel too guilty, and let the
Mhm.
kids have a little bit of fun. And yeah,
Yeah, can't go wrong.
yeah.
So keeping with the kind of community theme, do you guys have any like regular events that you kind of participate with in the community?
Yeah, as far as events, 2 things: events in house and then events in town. So events in house, we have karaoke every Friday, which we even have kids kind of go in there and sing once in a while, just a few. Speaking of family friendly, but yeah, it's every Friday, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. We have karaoke, which is really catching on. It's kind of a cool thing to have. Not
Yeah,
a lot of places have it in Galena. And then we have live music from 7 to 10 every Saturday. And then other than that, yeah, visit Galena. Shout out to them, Galena Country. They do a great job at putting on events in town. Other than that, like the Oktoberfest in Galena is huge. We're going to be a big part of that this year. Yeah, Paul over there with the Lions Club put on a great Oktoberfest at Depot Park in Galena every year. This year, I think it's October 3rd.
Mhm.
Definitely look out for that. That's a great event. In addition to that, we have a lot of other things. There's a Chestnut Brew Fest up at Chestnut Mountain, which is a short drive, maybe a 15-minute drive, kind of through these country roads at the ski resort up there. Big brew fest. Usually like late August, first week of or late July, first week of August. But other than that, yeah, just a lot of kind of not just beer related things, but kind of sponsoring local school sports and stuff like that. But yeah, try to dabble in a little bit of everything.
Yeah, no, sounds great. It's a vibrant community out there for sure.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
So kind of getting into the beer and brewing questions, probably why a lot of people are tuning in. Walk me through your core lineup of beers. What's popular and why do you think it's popular?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So let's start off with our number one seller, which is our Alpine Blonde, which is a premium American lager. It's bluntly the most popular because it's the lightest. A lot of people, like I say, a lot of people come in looking for a super light beer, not only to pair with the food, but not to get in over their waiters when they're drinking and walking around town and with their families and such. So anyway, we want to like pack a lot of flavor into a light profile. So it's got a lot of flaked corn in there. It's got a lot of like a little bit of Vienna malt. It's got some Bohemian Pilsner malt, and it's finished off with like a Munich lager style yeast. And yeah, right at about 5.1%. Finishes light, a little bit dry. That's our number one. I think a lot of that's kind of marketing. On our description, it says like our lightest beer, and which is true, but that's what people really aim for. But secondly, personally, my favorite, the Hinterland Hellas. It's a Munich style Hellas lager, and yeah, just a little kind of a little bit more complexity than the Alpine Blonde, but definitely mildly bready, still finishing a little bit dry, straw in color, and just a little bit of extra nuance to it. Special yeast that it has, and other than that, a beer actually created at the Galena Brewing Company, which is pretty special to me, is our Thirsty Squirrel. It's a pecan nut brown ale, and we roast 50 pounds of pecans in house, honey glaze them, and let it sit with a really nice kind of depthful nut brown ale for a couple weeks, and really takes on those flavors. Pretty drinkable package.
Hmm.
Other than that, we have a Hookset Hefeweizen, another core beer. We have a lot of core beer. We have 12 in all, and 10 are cores. But yeah, our Hefeweizen, really, it's special because of the yeast. It's a yeast wheat beer, and has a variety of malted and flaked wheat, and then in addition to that, has a really special yeast profile from one of the oldest monasteries in Germany. It kind of gives it that little extra flavor. And if anybody knows Hefeweizens, the fermentation temperature really kind of dictates that ester and clove profile. So we kind of walk it through low temps and kind of slowly raise it through the fermentation and try to strike that balance, which we feel we do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, other than that, we got our General Grant. Obviously, Grant, former president and general for the Union Army.
Galena.
Civil War, big theme in Galena.
Yep.
The Civil War, of course. We're the winners. The North.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to anybody from the South, but anyway, the General Grant. It's an American style stout, of course, and yeah, it's still only about 5.5%. We have a lot of beers in the 5% range again for the
Yeah.
drinkability, but finishes more around 3.5, 4 degrees Plato. So there's a lot of adjunct flavors in there that run the gambit from kind of roasted, toasty, bready, raisin, and yeah, kind of burnt sugar and stuff like that. So that's a really popular one. And we have a Vienna style lager. That's great. Our Jagen Pointer, so kind of inspired by hunting tradition. It's kind of a fall type of beer. So yeah, it's kind of like an Oktoberfest, I tell people, but it's got a little more oomph of like this sourdoughy pretzel kind of flavor background due to like this special caramelized malt profile that we use in it, and
That sounds good.
yeah, yeah. Other than that, yeah, our Mexican lager, which is maybe our number two popular beer. Yeah, just I've been working on this slowly with the Galena Brewing Company for years, and altering the recipe. But the last couple of years, I really just like it where it's at. It finishes at about like 5.3% or so, and uses a variety of flaked maize, and it uses some flaked rye, some Vienna malts, a little bit of Munich malt, and like a Bohemian Pilsner base, and it has a good balance to it, and the yeast profile adds a little bit of like a subtle citrusy element without being
Mhm.
over the top naturally or having to incorporate adjuncts. So it's really great with or without a lime, which is kind of
Yeah.
the goal with the beer. And yeah, yeah. Other than that, that's our main core beers. But well, of course, we have two IPAs. I can't leave those out.
Yeah.
The reason they're kind of on the last of my list is just they're popular, but just seems like IPAs aren't as popular as they used to be, maybe. But I think that's a little bit of a trend in the beer market.
Yeah. They
Uh,
still definitely have a big following, that's for sure.
yeah, they do definitely. So we always got to have those. The classic West Coast style IPA, which seems like the body's a little bit lighter nowadays,
Mhm.
So we use a Bohemian Pilsner base for it, and use some different variety of malts, a little bit of rye, and kind of those classic Pacific Northwest hops, and yeah, yeah, it's a nice beer. And then We have a New England style IPA, our other IPA on the other side of that, which has
Hmm.
a really nice blend of tropical style hops, some like whole melon, mosaic, galaxy, some things like that. And
Hmm.
yeah, that's always a fun beer to make. A fun beer to make. A little expensive, with all the hops, but people love it. People come for IPAs sometimes. So
Yeah. Gotta give the
yeah.
people what they want.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about. It's like not just brewing what I like, listening to what people want and then creating a product they like. So yeah, our Oktoberfest every year is, well, I should say that's probably my favorite beer every year, but that's not on tap all the time. We got to create a little bit of demand for it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Give it some time to
Yeah,
build
that's
hype.
that's my long-winded answer of kind of what we got, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a kind of run the gamut of lights and darks. One thing I left out was our cherry kettle sour. So it's kind of a American wheat ale base infused with 100% Balaton cherry. It's kind of a mix between those Door County tarts and the dark, kind of in the middle ground there. And yeah, it's sour with lactic bacillus overnight, and yeah, it gets right in that 2.9, 3.1 pH range. So kind of nice, easy to drink.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's interesting. As you guys definitely have a great variety of beers, but I noticed like what you were saying earlier with people tending to like the lighter beers lately. That's a common theme I've heard from a lot of the other brewmasters I've interviewed is that those are becoming very popular in this day and age.
Yeah, it is. And just finding a way to add a variety to that besides
Mhm.
just something trying to emulate a commercial brand is always fun. And
Yeah,
it's funny, like, kind of it's our theme anyway, but these European style lagers, Western European style lagers that people never heard of are probably going to be interested in if they just see it and taste it because it fits that light beer category
yeah,
largely.
right. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, I guess let's see. Oh, what would you recommend for someone who's coming to you guys for the first time as like a good introductory beer?
Good introductory beer. I would say our Mexican lager or our Hellas, a little bit on the side of a
Mhm.
lot of flavor and a light package, but you can't go wrong with a flight. So we do it per flight glass. So it's like, I think it's 5 ounces each one. So it's a bigger flight, but
Mhm.
it's per glass. So you can get as many as you want. And it's not just 6 or 12. You pick your own, but can't go wrong with that. And I love to
Yeah,
advertise. We do just have tasters. Somebody's not sure before you spend money on a pint, just get a little taste of something and see. But yeah, our flights are very popular, so it's a good
yeah.
thing to get.
Nah, I'm glad you guys have that. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
What's something about your brewery that most visitors don't know, but maybe should before they get there?
Hmm.
A trickier question, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I would say kind of like our besides just beer, but like our barbecue restaurant too. I mean, yeah, we're a brewery and we market heavily, and we are a brewery first, but we have barbecue, and a lot of the beers are kind of pair really well with our barbecue. Um, Especially when we brew this smoky red style Irish red lager, which we have right now. And yeah, our kind of our pairing ability with our food is something that I think people sleep on a little bit, but it's great when you're there, and our staff's kind of trained to pair things with people, and there's pairing recommendations on the menu too. But I think that's something great, and that people can explore and kind of complete the food and beverage package.
Gotcha. That makes total sense. So for people coming in on a like if they're trying to just make like a trip out of it and see, what beer the area has to offer, how is the like the regional scene with Dubuque and Galena kind of packaged together? Is there a lot of good places to stop for beer?
There is, yeah. There's a pretty good trail. There's this every year there's this ale trail
Hmm.
kind of thing some local purveyor puts on, which is definitely worth checking out. It kind of starts up towards Lena area and it works its way east, Highway 20, and you go from Lena, which is a great place too. And then you go east on 20, you go through Elizabeth, and then there's Mud Run out there. And, we're in Galena, and then as you go to Dubuque. But as you see, there are different styles of beer. I mean, for example, some breweries in Dubuque focus a little bit more on like kind of the stronger, more like liberal flavor profiles, which are, definitely really appeal to the crowd out there, and which
Mhm.
is great. And we kind of have something different, which creates more of a variety locally, semi-locally in the tri-state area, which I think is a great package for people who want to go to breweries, but just don't want to just have like kind of the same offerings at every place. So
Yeah.
I think that kind of makes the tri-state area a little bit special, is that
Yeah.
you can get traditional stuff, but you can also get kind of off the wall sours and stuff other places too. So.
Yeah. No, people, I mean, I've talked to a number of people who have been kind of interested in doing little trips like that where they visit like a whole region and check out all the cool breweries in the area. So it helps that there's
Yeah,
some variety in them too.
yeah, they're pretty easy to find, and different breweries kind of have different themes, so you'll definitely notice that right away with different places.
Right? Yeah, makes total sense. Let's see. What's your most like unique or experimental beer that you've created?
Oh, let's see. I'm gonna name a couple things. I'm a brewer, and they're all my babies, but
Yeah.
one I'm brewing right now, which is top of mind, is like an American wheat ale based, and he used a little bit of Bonlander. It's like this Munich 10L,
Hmm.
and it's called Loco Mango. So it's got a little bit of 100% mango in it, and then we let it sit in a bright with some macerated peppers, some chili secos. So it's got a little bit of like the spicy but sweet and wheat kind of ale based background to kind of give it enough graininess to call it a beer still, But that's always something that's good. I brewed it one other time, but I'm brewing it again. Other than that, um, I do I called it a 5 layer burrito, and actually Red Bull got after me because I guess they copyrighted 5 layer or something. They own some other company, so I had to kind of change it just to burrito. But anyway, it has 5 layers of flavor, like toasted coconut. It's got some chili peppers in there. It's got vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon, and I think some like toasted nuts in there or something. But
Wow.
anyway, that's a pretty popular one. So kind of a beefier stout. And I'll grab some of that batch and barrel age it, so we have some for later too. And that's a fun project as well. And lastly, kind of one of my favorites is to barrel ferment some like smoky red ales. So like kind of like a wee heavy type of ale,
Mhm.
and then have it actually ferment in a few bourbon barrels from our local guys. Shout out Blonde Brothers. They give us some barrels sometimes, and
Mhm.
yeah, do like a fermentation in a barrel kind of thing, and that's always a cool project. So
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, someone recently opened my eyes to like beer with like peppers and kind of bell peppers and some of that stuff. And honestly, I love it. I love that stuff. That's
yeah, it's some Kentucky windage with how many to use, and that's kind of the fun part. You never get the exact same thing because
Mhm.
peppers vary a bit, but yeah, the key is to kind of macerate them, of course, make sure they're cleaned up. But yeah, and you can taste the beer in the bright tank. What I like to add them in the bright tank is you can kind of taste how hot it's getting over time, and you can kind
Yeah,
of keg it off when you've kind of reached that threshold of like optimal flavor.
yeah. Ah, that's cool. That's your scientific process right there.
Yeah, yeah, right. Drinking beer, tasting it,
Yeah, perks of the job for sure.
That's right. That's right.
Sounds great. So getting into some of like the future seasonal questions, what's coming up that people should get excited about? Do you have any like seasonal releases coming out or any like expansions to the brewery or what's the plan look like?
Well, right now that Loco Mango is about to get brewed next week, but that'll
Mm.
be like 3 weeks or so. But right now our two rotating seasonals is our Irish red lager. It's a little bit smoky, kind of ruby red, really nice. Kind of people sleep on it a little bit because it's not on our menu. Our staff has to tell people about it when they come in, but that's a great choice. Pairs really well with barbecue. We have a apricot key lime shandy on right now, which is nice. Always got to have a shandy or radler on. And other than that, yeah, that local mango, look out for that. And of course, Oktoberfest is going to be our next rotating seasonal. So super stoked about that every year. Yeah, it's painful to see it go at the end of its season around December, but when it comes back, it's great. So yeah, really looking forward to that. We put a lot of work into that, and it's a really well balanced beer that's just in a category of its own.
Yeah, something to look forward to. That's the beer to drink. Awesome.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so kind of getting into some of our closing questions here. If someone could only try three things at your brewery or your barbecue, what would you recommend?
Beer wise or including food?
including. So if they only had to
Okay,
pick three
cool.
out of everything.
Cool. I like it. I like it. Okay. So I'm gonna go a little bit beer heavy because, we're a brewery first, but
Mhm.
um, first off, our smoked brisket is just really on point. So take a lot of pride in that. Our preparation, we smoke it every single day, fresh, hickory smoked on like commercial, really nice pit. And anyway, yeah. So I would definitely say try out our brisket. We take a lot of pride in everything else too, but I'll limit it to that to answer your question. And but we do have platters. You can try multiple things. And other than that. Um, Definitely say our thirsty squirrel, our pecan nut brown ale. It kind of strikes the balance between kind of craft beer uniqueness, but also highly palatable.
Mhm.
And lastly, I would say I'm biased, but like our Hellas lager, I love it. It's an easy drinker, but it's got a really unique flavor profile that I think kind of reaches that great satisfaction level.
Sounds like a great plan. So someone's
Yeah.
going in just planning on three things.
Yeah.
That's the idea right there. What's the best way for people to stay connected with what you're doing?
Well, we're pretty good with the whole Facebook. We're not big on the Instagram and stuff. Maybe in the future, but right
Mhm.
now we do a lot of Facebook stuff. In addition to that, we advertise in some magazines and whatnot. But just kind of see what we're doing. We're continuing to create, ramp up our productivity on Facebook and post more content. But that's a great way to kind of see what we're doing. Live events, new beers, kind of hype videos, barbecue stuff, all that. Post a lot of reels and such. So definitely a good place to check us out. And yeah,
Great. I'll make sure to link all that stuff on my article when I publish it and in the description of this video.
awesome,
So everyone will
awesome.
be able to find that. Do you have any final thoughts or messages for people who are considering a visit after watching this?
Couple things. I mean, as far as like our barbecue goes too, we do have catering packages, so we do, almost as much meat as you want, up to about 120 people. We can smoke meat to order just for you and then drop it off and everything. And in addition to that, we sell retail kegs too. So if you're an interested customer and you want to get a 6 barrel, 5 gallons, or you want a 15 and a half gallon keg, we can do that too. So it can come with a party tap and like a keg jacket stuff. So we can accommodate that if you just want to buy a keg, cheaper than buying it by the pint. By the way, if you're having a party or something. Other than that, I mean, we have a couple adult gambling machines in there too, next to our pool table, which is always fun. If you're
Something for
winning, I
everyone.
guess. And yeah, we also have the ability to book big parties. We have the most floor space seating and the most tables in Galena. So we can
Wow.
accommodate big parties. We love to have, tables up to like 30 people and stuff. So definitely have the space and the goods, so to speak.
All right. Well, it's the place to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds great. Well, Sam, I thank you so much for taking the time to hop on the interview today. Had a
No
great time
problem.
talking to you.
Thanks for reaching out and good talk. And yeah, talk to you again sometime.
Absolutely. Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it for today. Be sure to check out some of our other exclusive interviews with the people from the best breweries in the Midwest. Bye now.